You ready, Jacob?
Uh
Wait.
All right.
huh.
It is week 5. Respect your elders, and what a week last week for the first tops versus bottoms week. Had 3 bottoms beat the tops.
Yeah, I went into the week predicting Garrick to get 140, so I wasn't surprised by the score whatsoever. So
Yeah, I also expected Colt to break 120 for like the second time ever in his Dynasty career. So
Garrett had the number 1, and then Aaron was like, no.
Aaron's being like that little kid that like has that cool toy, and Garrett like wanted to play with it, and now Aaron was like, no, it's mine.
it's mine.
Garrett versus Jacob. We mentioned the median battle starting to take place again, and Garrett had flashbacks and immediately launched himself 30 points above where he was whenever I mentioned it.
Speaking of that median battle, though, I was the one that took advantage of it this week. Last
Yeah.
week, I was watching from the very, very back seat of the stadium. This week, I was the one with the last second touchdown.
It was actually smart for Garrett to get the hell out of there because you were on the way up.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
Colt, like you mentioned, Kev, going up against you, scoring 123. In the previous 2 seasons combined, he scored over 110 only 2 times, and he's actually done it back-to-back weeks this year. So maybe that rebuild is finally coming to form.
Yeah, I've got nothing nice to say about Colt. I would say congrats for taking advantage of my team when it's at its weakest point it's been in our Dynasty. You did what you were supposed to do. That's all I got.
And called the grilling early.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's a bit disrespectful.
Honestly,
he took it
though-
easy on Miller, and then he did not for me, so I will remember that.
I don't think you really trashed the grilling show a little bit at all, really. For him to be making the video and make it obvious that he made it beforehand, disrespectful.
Also, he said if I would have had CMC and AJ Brown, it was still possible for me to score 105. Like, Colt, come on, let's be serious. I'm a 2-time champ. That shit didn't happen. Come on.
It's respect your elders. Don't be disrespectful.
Right? Yeah, come on now.
We had me versus Alex, just kind of like a role players kind of thing. I scored in the 130s. Alex got the bottom score. Nothing too surprising there. We just kind of keep
Doing
on
what you
keeping
do.
on. Chris versus Miller. It was looking close. And then
Yeah.
Miller's whole team, Josh Allen, just crumbled there at the end. So he had no chance.
it did.
This is actually one of those weeks where I feel like the rest of his team actually did their part and Josh Allen did not.
You expect Brandon Ayuk to get more than 5 points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Garrett Wilson. So
I don't expect Garrett Wilson to get one. Everyone keeps talking him up like he's the greatest receiver of all time. I haven't seen it. I'll go on record saying I'm a Garrett Wilson hater, and it's 100% because of the jersey style he wears.
yes. Are
Yeah.
you putting him in the same category as Patrick Mahomes of garbage?
Sure.
All right.
Mahomes and Kelsey still only combining for 30. That is the highest of the year so far. Mahomes did absolutely obliterate Rashee Rice's knee, who Chris also has, so he did not like Chris having that other chief on his team. Game of the week, Chase versus Aaron. It was living up to the hype. They were projected within like 2 points for like the entire second half of Sunday. And then, Derrick Henry kind of ruined Chase's entire weekend.
His last 2 games, Derrick Henry, that's been kind of terrifying, honestly. That offense, like, there's a lot of bullshit that happens in the backfield about who's going to get the ball between Lamar, that big-ass fullback they have, and Derrick Henry. And then how the fuck do you stop that? Because, like, Derrick Henry is the largest human being I've ever seen run, like, 20 miles an hour. That's terrifying. Lamar Jackson, you just can't touch in the open field. And then their fullback is literally built like a double-wide trailer. Patrick Ricard, I think's his name, on the Ravens. That dude is ridiculously huge. I need to get his jersey. I'm a fan. Number 1 fan.
There you
here.
go.
But after all those games, we'll take a look at the standings. Still undefeated at the top. Aaron jumping up to second place. Chris and Chase tied at third. Colt and Garrett tied at fifth. Kevin and Jacob tied at seventh. Miller's all the way down to ninth. And Alex is still looking for a win.
I think
Oh,
Mir needs to come back in here and kind of like try to say some nice things because he has not won a single game since he started talking all that shit. So
Yeah. There's like the Florida State issue of the guy said he was going to eat dog poop, but they lost and he didn't. And like we've sucked since. Like maybe Miller needs to eat dog poop or something of that equivalent.
tell you what, I'm gonna do my drink later, in the ad today. But next week he can come in and take that slot and eat
go.
dog poop.
But yeah, third through ninth are only separated by 20 points per game. Also, me and Garrett are the only undefeated teams in their divisions. And speaking of divisions, if the season ended today, we would actually have 3 teams from each division going into the playoffs. So can't cut it more even than that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Happy day after Cinco de October, everybody. I got a experience for you. This is an enchilada soda. I love enchiladas, especially enchiladas made from Mrs. G. I don't know about this drink, but I'm gonna open it up. Okay, it's opened. Do a little sniff test. Doesn't smell as bad as I thought it was gonna be. This might not be as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It says, y'all get your fixins. So I'm gonna get my fixin', okay? There we go. Yeah, that's that's interesting. Okay, so that's like a sweet enchilada. That I think I even taste some sour cream in that. That was not good whatsoever. Are we sponsored by these guys?
No.
All right, 3 out of 10. Ew, that was not good. Okay, the initial taste wasn't terrible, but then you start tasting the enchilada, which I don't want to taste enchilada when I'm drinking soda.
You have a chaser or something to wash your mouth out with now?
Yeah, I love my favorite grapefruit juice. I will chug this to the finish right now.
On to this week's games, and this has got to be the greatest slate of matchups we've ever had. Absolute cinema, because every single matchup is next to each other in the standings, with 3 of them being tied record-wise. But it's 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down. And if that wasn't close enough, every single matchup, if they played each other all 4 weeks, would be 2-2 against each other.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's insane how this random week just worked out like that, but it did.
Yeah.
So what a great week for bye week hell to start.
Yeah.
For real.
Number 10 versus number 9, Dream Rotation versus Abilene Woodpeckers. Alex still looking for that first W, and Miller hasn't won since week 1. Ever since he talked trash to Aaron, that really set him back quite a few years.
A few years.
Yeah.
I don't know what the longest time it's been for Alex to get a dub, but I feel like 4 straight weeks of nothing to start the season is probably matches. I mean, we can go back and fact check later if we want, but I gotta say I'm rooting for Alex here. I want to see him get a dub, even if it's just a median dub. That's cool with me. Looking at the bye weeks they got, missing Goddard and Tyler Boyd for Alex, and then Miller missing everyone's favorite running back Tajay Spears, and Devonta Smith. Some pretty big losses for both sides, but I think this is the week. I think Alex pulls out the dub.
Okay, I'll do predictions. My prediction for this game is I do think Alex is going to get it, because I think he's finally starting his right quarterback this week. He's starting Geno Smith this week as of right now. I don't think they're going to break 100. Alex 93, Mir 82. Most of his points come from Josh Allen. So
You're still not breaking 100.
I feel like that's a more realistic expectation.
If Josh Allen scores bad again, Miller's going to start thinking about starting Kirk.
I'm just going to say, if Miller's ever going to start Kirk, do it during Kirktober. He's better in October. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just really into Halloween. If you're going to do it, this is the month to do it, Miller.
He dresses up like a good quarterback.
There we go. That's it.
Rocky Mountain Ghouls versus Red Rain, sitting right here. That's number 8 versus number 7. They're tied at 3 and 5. Both elders sitting out of the playoffs, which never happened before. Kevin is 6 and 4 against Jacob. Beat him both games last year to take that lead. Y'all's average score is 123 to 128, which neither of you have hit either of those scores this year. So it's not looking like it's going to be the big shootout like it usually is.
yeah, Kevin is getting hit by the bye week harder than I am. He has no starting running back, like 0.
I just have 2 running backs to make you go, whoa, and then nothing behind it. I genuinely think this is the lowest projection I've ever had at currently 76.9. So that's pretty great. And also, I got AJ Brown from Jacob in the trade last year, as I'm sure many of you remember. Jacob's never had to play AJ Brown, despite us playing twice now since that trade.
That's how he accepted the trade. He was like, well, let me see, am I going to have to play him or not?
For my prediction of the score, I actually do think it's going to be higher than I think what the majority will think here. I think I'm going to get 115, and Kevin's going to get like another 105-ish. Tyreek is actually going to connect on a long ball this week.
The quarterback situation, it feels like Tyreek is also hurt, even though he's not. It just feels that way.
You could not pick a better week to go up against Kevin. Missing running backs
Yeah.
and AJ Brown, and really, like he said, missing Tyreek. So he's missing the entire heart of his team, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Lamar holding it down. And to be fair, Lamar is holding it down. I've been steady with Lamar all season. I just want to, Aaron, you were wrong. He outscored Kyler Murray, and I'm not calling you out because your team is bad. Your team's fine, but your prediction about starting Kyler Murray, I saw that face Bo made, and I felt like I should tone it down just a little bit.
I think
Take a step back.
I stick to my guys.
Magic School Bucks versus the Grillers. Number 6 versus number 5. They were the overperformers last week, just blowing up. Obviously, they're going to try and stay there, and they're only a half game behind third right now.
Garrett is 3-1 all time in this series. Colts' only win was the very first time they played. It is a close average, 100 points to 98 points, which I think, honestly, probably about where it'll be this week. Again, I don't think both teams are scoring over 120 again. Sorry, guys. I just don't think that's going to be a recurring theme for you. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Who the fuck knows? I mean, my team sucks this year. So, no major bye weeks for either guys. Malik Neighbors is out with the concussion. That sucks. Garrett hasn't been grilled before, right? This is a
I don't think
potential
so.
first-time grill. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
potential first-time grill for back-to-back weeks now. So, that's always fun.
I don't think he will be grilled this week. I think his defense actually shows back up a little bit more, but I also don't think he needs the defense. I think he's still going above 100. So I think it's going to be like 100. I'm going to go 108 to a 82 by Colt. I think it comes back down to earth a little bit, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Garrett's lineup IQ. He was having the same issues as Aaron. We said he was missing out on like 46 points per game, and he literally added that back to last week. So I don't know if we just needed to point that out to him. Right now, as far as the lineup IQ goes, Colt is at 84%, number 1 at starting the right guys. Garrett is up to 9th now, 72%. But on potential points, Colt is in 8th. So he has got to pick the right guys because he does not have that many points. And Garrett is now up to 3rd, passing Chris. It's just going to come down to, can Garrett get those bench points on the starters?
I think it's his team doing literal flips for him. Kenneth Walker, I think he's jumping into kind of stardom in fantasy football. When he's on the field, he is good. I would love to have him on my team. I'll give you 3rd.
Piece of shit. Sorry, had a little dysfunction. But the flames are going, and the grill is now preheating. It's a special week for preheat. Not only did I break 100 for the second time in a row, but the person I'm playing, who also rarely breaks 100, did it as well. Can either of our teams keep this up? I don't know. I hope so. I hope at least mine can keep it up. I really don't care if Garrett's team does very well. I hope they do at least worse than mine. This is probably going to be the most positive preheat I'll ever have because I'm proud. You know, both of our teams doing well. Hopefully we will be the new number 1 and number 2. Matchups will definitely be a lot better than the number 8 versus number 9 that we had in the past. The grill's warming up, Garrett, so make sure your team is ready. You don't want to be on get grilled.
Chris Dastrophe versus Evans Heaven, number 3 versus number 4. They're also tied at the record, but Chris is leading 5-4 all time. But Chase is leading in points per game, 116 to 112.
Chris, he's getting hit by the injuries and the bye weeks this week. Much in the same boat as I am. Maybe not quite as severe, but definitely not in his ideal lineup for sure. With Rashee Rice getting sabotaged by Patrick Mahomes last week, the Lions bye, so David Montgomery and Sun God both out, and Ladd McConkey, who he probably would have got a shot at starting this week, also out.
Good news for Chase, his team's intact.
Yes.
Got no major bye weeks or anything, so super unfortunate. Chase timed this out real well.
Chase's team, though, I will say, I feel like has been underperforming a little bit. I don't think he's broken 110 in the recent scheduling, which to me is surprising. I think he's going to be right on the fringe of 110. I don't know if I'm confident to say he's going to break it. I wouldn't be surprised if he does, but I'm also like, I think he's still going to be like a 108 still this week. Chris, however, I think he just absolutely hates me and only scores 150 against me. And the rest of the league, he just does like 103, 110, 85, or in this week, 93. 108, 93, Chase.
Last game of the week, the Price Brothers showdown at number 1 and number 2. I'm missing Hurts and Saquon. Aaron's missing Laporta. But every single week, the top scorer has been me or Aaron. As far as all time, I am beating Aaron 6-1. The one time he won was the very first time we played. And also we played twice in round 1 of the playoffs. I beat him both of those times. So really just filling that big brother role.
Completely unrelated, but I think it's funny that Aaron sucks in the first round of the playoffs and Bo sucks in the second round of the playoffs.
Price Bros know how to lose in the playoffs.
I can see how it's unfortunate if you're having Saquon and losing the number 2 overall running back this year, and having to go to Alvin Kamara, the number 1 overall running back this year. I can see how that hurts you overall.
Yeah.
And I think Aaron, he got the last 2 top scores, like back to back, right?
Yep.
I think he mistimed it, and I don't think he gets it this week, which kind of sucks. I think you're going to beat Aaron. And I think Aaron's going to not get to like the 140 levels. I think he's going to drop down a little bit again, back to like 115. However, I think you're going to score still like 135 this week.
Okay, so just staying in my comfort zone there in the 130s.
Yeah.
If we set our lineups perfectly, this could be like a 170 to 180 type of deal. I'm super scared I'm going to set a really good lineup and hit like 160 or something for the first time. And Aaron will also set his lineup right and get like 180 and be like, all right, well.
I think it would be more fun if they scored like 50 to 37.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, it would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we can also break the record for lowest score ever.
Yeah. That's a very low bar.
It is really low. I'm gonna have to take
it's hard to do.
Lineup. No, Miller's got a tight grasp on that at 30 points. That is Andrew Miller scored 30 points one year. It's not good.
Not great.
All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. A lot of close matchup. Every matchup is close in the standings, so potential for a lot of movement.
Maybe all 10 teams will be battling for that last median position this week.
That would be wild.
That'd be fun.
Let's
Every team within 2 points. That would be the saddest week for the bottom half of those teams.
Yeah, for real.
All right.
You really got to psych yourself in for this one.
I'm concerned.
You don't even know if it's going to be bad.
It could be sweet. It could be. I don't know. All right.
It's orange. What orange soda is bad?
This one, probably.
We don't know that yet.
I don't. You're right. All right. Here we go.
Be positive. It'll be good.
Okay. Happy day after Cinco de October, everybody. I got a experience for you. All right, Kevin, come try this.
I don't want to try. You just said it was terrible.
Come try this, Kevin.
I didn't even like the Coke. Why did I get roped into this? Oh, God, that's gross. Oh.